COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
We are your relatives.
We are your relations.
Brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters.
And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Culture prevents so many negative things from happening to us as individuals and as communities.
Strong roots begin with a healthy heart. For Indigenous women, heart health is part of caring for community, culture, and future generations. Even small steps can help protect what matters most. Discover ways to support your heart at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats, because your heart beats for generations.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 68, Saturday sunny with a high near 89, and Sunday sunny with a high around 91. Experience the magic of Wicked and discover how an unlikely friendship changed Oz forever. The Broadway sensation runs July 8th through August 9th at the Orpheum Theater. Use discount code TGSWIK for 25% off select performances. Tickets and more info at Ticketmaster.com.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade, which means distant thunder. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events. And as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, we have our friend State Senator Mary Kunesh on, and we always really, really appreciate you coming on and checking in. And really, I feel like educating not only the listeners, but me. And so I really appreciate you coming on. And I know you just got off an airplane, and maybe you can tell us about what you've been doing and why you were on an airplane. Welcome, State Senator.
How am I talking up there? I just flew in from Washington, D.C. Boy, are my arms tired.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a dad joke. Oh,
yeah, a big dad joke. But I was out there for a conference. It was the Council of State Educators. And I am the chair of Education Finance in the Minnesota Senate. And so ever since I took that chairmanship, I have been attending these. And these are educators from all over the country that get together. And it's not just educators and legislators, but it's also legislative staff, which is really important to have them at these kind of conferences. Like I have an administrator for the committee, the education committee, and she came out. She has been going the last couple of years too. And there are specific sessions just for administrators, for the folks that do the finance part of education. Some of them are legal minded people around education. And then of course, a lot of vendors that work within the educational realm are there. They help sponsor the conference. So it's a real meeting of the minds, to say the least, and lots of really good topics that we get to discuss and meet and say, how are you doing this? Or what are your best practices? And it's just, a really good get together.
That's awesome. And it's great to go on these too. And geez, again, we talk about your job being part-time, but it always sounds full-time to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's not a dull moment, let me tell you. There may be a day or two where I find myself with nothing on my calendar. And I'm kind of at loss what to do with myself sometimes, But my house is finally getting itself in order, and I feel like I'm getting on top of things a little bit. It's campaign season, so I got to get that going, and the constitutional amendment ballot question campaign going. Always lots to do.
Yeah, definitely. And then before you know it, it's a state fair.
Yep.
That's always as former educators, that's always oh no, we go back to school now. I hope the school's air conditioned, because the ones I taught in never were.
Right. I remember when I was in North Minneapolis, we had no air conditioning, but it was one of those big old beautiful school buildings with, the huge wooden glass windows that, if you open it up, you get a good breeze going. But I remember one spring it was super duper hot. Kids just started bringing in fans.
Wow.
Like they would find them at garage sales and they'd bring them in. And I think they must have nabbed them from their grandparents' ancient home, because a few of them brought those old metal ones. I don't know if you remember those at all.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, we had to use fans to keep cool. And I know the last building I was in, Robbinsdale Middle School, they had air conditioning. But sad thing that's happening is both of the schools that I taught in Robbinsdale, the elementary school and the middle school, are now closing.
Wow.
Yeah. And the one that I taught in Minneapolis closed too. I guess maybe I'm not the good luck charm. But that's kind of, and that we talked about this at that conference, is as the population decreases, enrollment in schools decrease, and we can't afford to keep the schools open. All these, it'd be great if we could keep all these schools and it was a small school and small class sizes, but you still have to staff it. You still have to heat it. You still have to cool it. And it's just not, the cost is more and more to educate our kids, and it's such a heartbreaking thing to have to close a school.
It really is. Does it ever come up in your travels or up at the Capitol about putting solar panels on schools? Because boy, that would be a game changer, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we have like every session there are bills around solar panels on schools and how we can save a lot of money by doing that. Of course, it's a huge investment to get it done. But I am all for that. And for some reason, I think there are some grants out there. There are some dollars out there for schools to start moving in that direction. I mean, who knows if we put them on schools, eventually they could be generating income, right?
Exactly.
They could be selling that unused energy. And so I don't think the energy companies like to hear that. But
no,
I mean, I'd be 100% for that. We need to get Blake from Red Lake to put together a solar on schools program.
Yeah, we've talked about it. And I know I just think of the school that I was at, Harding, it was all flat and they had
Mhm.
a big courtyard. It was like designed for California because it had a huge courtyard in the middle of the school and it was
Mm.
one floor.
Yeah.
But even the other schools in St. Paul I can think of just that have flat ceilings or flat roofs.
Yeah, you don't even have to have flat roofs these days. I mean,
Yeah.
there are little units that you can connect to on your apartment. Like if you have a deck out there or something like that, you can hook it. I'm thinking about doing something where I live around that and see how it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are some of the things that we might discuss when we're together. The one thing the biggest takeaway was, New Mexico is doing incredible things. They have universal childcare now. And there was one session where they were talking about how 40 to 60% of their students in New Mexico are unhoused.
Wow.
I
Wow.
know. So what they did is they started this pilot project where kids in 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, they give them a $500 cash card, and it goes directly into a bank account, and they can use that to live. And and part of the problem is when you're unhoused, attendance is bad because
Right.
maybe you don't have transportation, maybe you don't have clean clothes, a million different, you have to stay home and take care of younger kids. There's all kinds of things. Well, with $500 they found makes a big difference. And they were able to increase the attendance of almost all of these kids and increase graduation rates from about 49% to over 94%.
Wow. Those are real numbers.
Those are real numbers and those are real successes. And so that's, I find, real interesting approach to looking at how to get those kids through high school.
I have a few more questions about that. If we can take a quick break and jump into that, that's really interesting. And being a former school teacher, I remember some teachers going, well, I'm going to give this person a D for this and that and the other. And I said, this person's homeless. They don't care. They want to know where they're staying tonight. But
yeah,
that's a whole nother story. And we'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation. I heard sex trafficking happens a lot in Indian country. What is that?
Here are some of the real reasons why sex trafficking happens in Indian country. Unequal gender roles that were forced on us by colonization. Communities don't have enough resources. Silence around domestic and sexual violence. Lack of attention and justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people. There's a lot of behavior that keeps our communities out of balance. These are just a few true reasons why Native communities are targeted by traffickers. When these acts of violence happen in our communities, it opens us all up for exploitation.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Maintaining our health, particularly our heart health, is very important to us as a family.
Your heart gives you time with family, time with community, time to pass down what matters. Protecting your heart helps keep those moments alive. A visit with a healthcare provider can be one step toward a healthier future. Learn more at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats. Your heart health is essential because your heart beats for generations.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and we are here with our friend State Senator Mary Kunesh, who unbelievably comes on our show. I don't know, you've been not a politician, but a lawmaker for as long as the show's been on, so we kind of got parallel paths. I know we both retired from teaching, I think the same year too, and but now we're both working twice as hard as we ever did. But I really piqued my interest what you were talking about, State Senator. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we were talking about this pilot program. I think it's called New Mexico Appleseed. Well, that's the organization that's kind of sponsoring this program. And what it is that they put $500 deposits into an account for students, and this is a test, a test practice thing of a program of this. And
is it monthly?
Yes, but not during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
We asked that question. So will it go through the summer? No, it doesn't. But during the school year, students receive a monthly $500 deposit. They have to agree to a couple of different things. They have to agree to come to school. So their attendance has to be appropriate, and they have to get passing grades. And then they also include in all of that the expectation that they'll participate in some kind of financial literacy program.
Ooh.
And then check in with like a mental health support person at their school throughout all of this. And it has made a real difference in their graduation rate. It's amazing what they were telling us about. And it was so interesting because the presenter kept saying, New Mexico is a very wealthy state. They have gas, they have oil.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in 2023, New Mexico had the highest child poverty rate in the nation.
Whoa. Wow.
And almost, around 10,000 homeless students. And so it's that dichotomy of like, there's money there. Why, money doesn't always fix everything, but how can we use these monies in the best way possible to improve the lives of not only the students, but their families. And, it's you think, wow, $500 is a lot, if you add it all up, and it really is. But you think of the community burden of having kids that aren't graduated, that are living in poverty, unhoused, and that we all know about the generational trauma and the generational struggle to pull yourself out of situations like that. And they're finding crazy success. Like 93% of the kids that participated ended up graduating.
Wow.
And, as we were talking before, it wasn't, a lot of people will say, oh, they're just going to buy chips and pop and smoke pot and, waste all that money. And that is not the case at all. So that was like the best takeaway that I left with. I was really excited about that. St. Paul, Minnesota, when a kid is born, they deposit, I don't remember how much it is, into a bank account. And that's to use for future education, and parents can continue, grandparents can put money in there, those kind of things. Somehow we have to think outside the box.
That's interesting. So I just have a statement and a question. The statement would be if like 1 out of 100 of these students ended up in prison. Prison costs what, 75,000 a year,
Yep.
85,000 a year for one person. The
Yep.
savings out of 1 out of 100, I don't know what the statistics are, but I'm just throwing that out.
Yeah.
And, how do you qualify for that? You have to be homeless or is it
You do have to be, homeless. You probably have to have a poor attendance record, which means your grades are going to probably be kind of poor. But they looked around the state and they chose a few um, targeted schools that they thought might be a good idea. And I mean, I think they would like to make it national. And it was like a 1 year test run. And because, or maybe 2 years, anyways, it was so successful, they automatically extended it for 3 more years. And I think they're
Jeez.
trying to expand that as well. Of
I'm
course,
getting
my question is,
emotional. I'm getting emotional thinking about this.
I know,
I
I
mean, we've
know. And
dealt with kids over the years that have been really affected.
you know, I know there were kids that didn't come to school because they were unhoused and didn't have clothes or clean clothes. If they had to leave some place very quickly and left all their stuff. Now all of a sudden there's no clothing. There's
Right.
all kinds of issues. But I did ask the question, are tribal students eligible for
Hmm.
this? And he said, yes,
Wow.
absolutely. And, our tribal communities, like anywhere else, struggle no matter what. And so, yes, they also have that eligibility. But yeah, I think it could be an incredible investment. You just have to kind of find that nest egg, that chunk of change to start it off and show that it's worth the investment. Here in Minnesota, we have so many other things that we want to do. Universal childcare. Oh my God, we'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Um, we're looking at earned sick and safe time now. We have unemployment for our hourly school workers. We have to continue
Yeah.
to fund that so that doesn't become a burden to our students or our schools. Yeah, it never ends. So knock on wood, keep your
Yeah.
fingers crossed. I'm running for reelection because I still have a few things I want to get done. And there are a lot of other folks that are going into it for the same reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Solar panels and this program would be awesome, just because we have so many Fortune 500 companies in the state. Somebody needs to reach out to them, reach out to some of these rich tribes across Turtle Island and, really make a difference because this is the future. And 90% again just blows me away, state senator.
I
Just
know.
because I remember being in St. Paul and we were people were ecstatic that we were graduating 55 to 56% of our Native Americans on time. And
Mhm.
to me as an educator, that was a travesty. I don't know why we're holding on to that. And like you said earlier, we really need to think out of the box here.
Yeah. Yeah. There's much to do. I guess if you and I ran the world, Robert, we'd
Yeah.
take care of all the problems, eh?
We'd have 4-day weeks, that's for sure. No, for me, I don't know. You'd have to have 7-day weeks because you're working
Uh-oh.
all the time.
Uh-oh. Yeah, so that I came back with a lot of good ideas, and I'm kind of excited about some of the things that maybe we can work on going forward.
Well, I'd like next segment to talk about how the Capitol wound down, but we got a few minutes left in this segment. Tell us what a week looks like for you because I don't think we've seen each other the 4th. I know there's a big powwow this weekend in Prairie Island. I'm going to try and get down there
Mhm.
for a session. But you're always on the move. What's the next month look like for you?
Well, gosh, I know I have another conference down in Chicago at the end of the month, National Council of State Legislators. And I'm working hard on getting this constitutional amendment up and running, the campaign up and running. We've got a really good senior consultant, shall we call her, who's getting us organized, getting the campaign up and running. Hopefully next week we'll have the website so folks can get educated around that. I'm getting my campaign up and running, and also the chair of another conference here in Minnesota. You're talking about the state fair. Well, I'm the chair of the Midwest Council of State Legislators. So like 11 11 states in the Midwest and 5 provinces from Canada constitute the Midwest Council of State Legislators. And our conference is here in St. Paul.
Wow.
My staff is doing an extraordinary job of helping and pretty much getting it organized. But usually it's in July, and I got them to agree to have it over the state fair. So that first weekend of the state fair, we will have tons and tons of state legislators here. And I think one of those evenings, you will find legislators from all over the Midwest and from elected officials from the provinces at the fair. And everyone's looking forward to it.
Well, you should coordinate what day it is, and I can do my show live down at the fair and have you take over the show and introduce and talk to these people.
Oh, that would be kind of fun.
We should talk about that, but we got more to talk about, and appreciate you staying on for an extra segment. I'm here with State Senator Mary Kunesh, and we're going to talk about how the session ended this past year. This is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be right back after this short break. Please stay with us. Ho-wah.
When we heal from our traumas,
When we face our fears.
let go of our addictions,
When we relearn our values.
when we live our teachings,
Respecting our elders.
cherishing and honoring our children,
When we honor and take care of our spirit.
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
Heart health is more than just the physical well-being. It represents like a foundation of vitality, resilience, and the ability to live fully.
Your heart carries stories of resilience, love, and survival. Caring for your heart means honoring yourself and the generations before and after you. It means protecting your ability to gather, laugh, and be present. Learn more about your heart health at hennepincounty.gov/heart-beats, because your story matters and your heart beats for generations.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Grab delicious popcorn from Popcorn. You've heard me talk about Popcorn's delicious flavor, street taco, zesty taco seasoning, savory spices, and a hit of lime brightness. It's amazing. Well, get it now, as it will only be available until the end of July. And remember, get any size popcorn-flavored popcorn at regular price. Get a second bag of equal or lesser value for 50% off. Go to Popcorn Store on Shady Oak Road in Minnetonka and tell them my name, Matt. That's discount code MATT. Enjoy your favorite gourmet flavor with popcorn.
Hi, I'm Mary T. Caring for others runs deep in my family. My grandmother, Rosa, was a nurse who cared for people in their homes more than a century ago. Inspired by her compassion, my mother, Margaret, and I founded the Mary T. family of companies nearly 50 years ago. Today, we continue that legacy across Minnesota, Wisconsin, Maryland, and Arizona, providing senior living, assisted living with memory care, home health, hospice care, rental housing, and support for people with disabilities. Each service is personal, creative, and focuses on the unique needs of those we serve. We also believe in joy and community, which is why we opened Crooner Supper Club in Fridley, a place to celebrate life with music, laughter, and connection. At Mary T, we're proud to be a Minnesota family company rooted in compassion, inclusion, and respect, and proud supporters of AM 950 and the values that this station represents. Visit marytinc.com to learn more.
Congratulations to Mary T, named one of the most admired CEOs of 2026 by the Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Journal. With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 68, Saturday sunny with a high near 89, and Sunday sunny with a high around 91. Taste where tradition meets innovation at Gatherings Cafe. Their menu highlights amazing bison tacos served on corn tortillas alongside delicious homemade sides, featuring lean bison protein sourced directly from Native Wise, where every meal feeds your soul. Visit them inside the newly renovated Minneapolis American Indian Center or online at gatheringscafe.com.
AM 950 KTN up, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Bobby Wilson. Witcha.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, welcome back, everyone. We are here with our friend, State Senator Mary Kunesh, and with all the things that have been happening the last couple of weekends, I don't know if we've caught up about the ending of the session, and I know you have a lot of updates, so take it away. Thanks again for being on. As always, State Senator Mary Kunesh.
Thank you so much, Wokalatanka. We were talking about homeless youth, and in Minnesota, we are, really trying to do the best that we can to address that. So at the legislature this past session, we were able to extend some additional dollars for homeless prevention aid into to the different communities. And, historically, our tribes were often not included in some of these aids or governmental subsidies. But this year, when we extended the local homeless prevention aid, we made sure that all of the 11 federally recognized tribes in Minnesota are eligible to receive that prevention aid. And that is a pool of money that we created, in 2021. And so we expected it to sunset in 2028. But we recognize we're not going to have fix that problem. So it got extended to 2032 and added some more money to that. And then, and these are things that are wins for our tribal communities. We were able to secure some bonding dollars, state bonding dollars, to return the Cloquet land to the Fond du Lac Band of Lake Superior. That those were lands that were under state ownership, and it's been in the works for a long time to get those dollars back to, or not those dollars, but get that land back to the tribe. So that was really exciting. Another one is that Lower Sioux has been working on an immersion language school, a Dakota language school. And so we were able to get some bonding dollars towards that as well. Those will support the school's early childhood, early Head Start program, and it's to provide an early and promote student school readiness for those students in a very cultural way, specific to our Dakota people. And then the other thing that we did is we approved language to ensure that our tribal contract schools receive the equal amount in state aid if and when the Permanent School Trust Fund constitutional amendment passes. So there are 4 BIE schools in Minnesota, Bureau of Indian Education, and those are under the federal umbrella of education, but we also contribute to supporting that school. And there are lots of school trust lands on reservation land, and those BIE schools have never received the payout that every other public school kid gets. So we're making sure that they're getting that payout as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
And then there are some tax exemptions for the tribes. Any land or land that is owned by tribal governments is generally exempt from property tax. But when there are new properties, sometimes that exemption doesn't automatically carry over. And so we had to carve out specific exemptions. So it modified the current property tax exemption for a medical clinic in Duluth that is owned by the Fond du Lac Band of Lake Superior, Chippewa. And it established new property tax exemption for property in Cloquet owned by that same tribe, where they use the building to store medical and other materials for their community. And then again, we passed an emergency rental assistance through the Family Homeless Prevention and Assistance Program. And that was specifically after like COVID. And now we have all the fallout from when ICE came and terrorized all our communities. So we made sure that tribal members have access to that. We're able to do another land back to the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe. We authorized the sale of some of the lands that were held by the local units of government back to the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe because they need to extend their cemetery. You know, we have all those burial mounds all over that we're trying to protect and preserve. But the way that we do things these days is generally in, established cemeteries, and our tribes have those as well. So anything we can do to help, to move our relatives into the next world and that space for them is, I think, really, really important. A couple things that we didn't get done is some work that I've been doing on wild rice, specifically to ensure that pesticides are not being eked into the wild rice beds. And one of the things we wanted to do was to create the recognition that there's an inherent right of the uncultured wild rice here in Minnesota to thrive here in Minnesota, and to give it some, legal protections when there are issues around that. And then, there's always issues with gambling. Minnesota has that compact with the tribes for their exclusive rights to gambling in Minnesota. And slowly there's always ways that folks are trying to nibble around that. And one of them is sweepstakes. So currently online gambling is illegal in Minnesota, and sweepstake gambling is online gambling. And it uses really deceptive ways to kind of circumvent our gambling laws. And so we tried to also ban that. That was not successful this year, but hopefully we'll be able to come back next year and make sure that happens. So those are some of the things that we did around, tribal issues at the state legislature. I always say these last 10 years have been incredible opportunities to build relationships with our tribal nations, and then create those nation to nation relationships and responsibilities. And I think we're getting there. I mean, a couple of years ago, I had 9 pages of really good stuff to share. And I don't see it as, we weren't so successful this year. I see it more like we got a lot of the big things done already, and now we can start working on just building the infrastructure of supports as we go forward. So I'm really excited for the next opportunity.
That was amazing, even though it wasn't the 19 pages. Still, what you read off was amazing, and I was thinking when you were saying that, it's just how important, because as you know, I was a governmental official for my tribe in Wisconsin, and they have nothing like this because of people like you know, Susan Allen before you that have opened up the door. And, you know, part of your job has been, you know, love it or not, been educating people that aren't educated on tribal rights and things like that. I'm just really grateful and amazed the difference between us and, let's say, Wisconsin when it comes to that, because they have no natives in the big government, you know, the state government.
Well, it really, representation really does make a difference. I remember when I was first elected in the House, and you mentioned Susan Allen, the first Native woman to be ever elected into the legislature. And then, of course, we had our now Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan there. Jamie Becker Finn joined me. So at one point, we had 4 women in the House. And we just started telling the stories, and we just started speaking our truth, and people were sort of dumbfounded. I mean, honestly, I don't think they knew what to do with all that information. It was very mind-boggling for them. But we just continued to educate. And of course, now we have Representative Kozlowski in the House. We have Representative Buck in the House. Unfortunately, we're losing Representative Keeler. So as I say, everybody, we can't be here forever in the Minnesota legislature, my Native friends and community members. So we need more people at the legislature that are able to really work on these issues and build the important relationships and guide all the good stuff that needs to be done for not just our tribal communities, but all of Minnesota, because when our tribes are thriving, our communities are thriving, and our state is thriving. It's certainly a mutual success story when these things happen.
You know, and it's funny you should say that too. In Wisconsin, Ho-Chunk, the nation that I'm enrolled in, is one of the top employers of the state. And it just blows my mind that a lot of people don't know that. Also, one of the things too that if I was still teaching, I think one of the questions I'd ask our students is, do you know who lived here before you? And I don't mean, you know, the 1900s or even the 1800s. And I don't think in education that's asked a lot. So then we find out that we have adults that don't know the true history of where their house is.
Yep. Yeah. Who were the original occupants of this area? I mean, a lot of times when I go out and talk about different issues about Indian country, and I ask the group that I'm speaking to, first of all, how many federally recognized tribes do we have in Minnesota, or reservations or tribes? And honestly, maybe 1% to 2% of the people will raise their hand and know that information.
Wow.
And that's just little Minnesota here. Imagine nationally the lack of understanding and education.
Or California, for instance, they don't know at all, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at all. Hey, State Senator, thank you so much for staying an extra segment with us and talking about all the great work that's been done and that you are a big part of. And I'm proud to know you, and I know you have done such great work over the years. Thank you so much.
Wopila Tonka. Dashka, everybody.
Right on. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio. Up next, we're going to have our Young Warrior Woman segment with Misko. We'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio. Oh.
Culture prevents so many negative things from happening to us as individuals and as communities.
Strong roots begin with a healthy heart. For Indigenous women, heart health is part of caring for community, culture, and future generations. Even small steps can help protect what matters most. Discover ways to support your heart at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats, because your heart beats for generations. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis Air. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis Air dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hi, I'm Tiergan.
And I'm Hadley.
We're two of the very first listeners, and we're
still listening to Native Roots Radio.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Native Roots Radio. And hey, it's Friday, and it's time for Friday's Young Warrior Woman segment. And the star of that is our producer, Misko. And take it away, Misko. I just got to say, I'll probably see you in person Saturday.
Bonjour, everyone. Hey, Robert. I'm so excited to go tomorrow. I already RSVP'd. Just super excited to be out in the community.
Yeah, and what we're talking about is seeing Lieutenant Governor and Dallas Goldtooth and doing a rally at the Indian Center. And that is, I believe, 3:30 to 4:30. It's going to be a quick one and be well worth it and get everyone fired up.
Yeah, and the address for that is 1530 East Franklin. We'll see you tomorrow.
Right.
I'm super excited. But yeah, so today I have a somewhat of a list of things that I kind of want to touch on, kind of like what does it mean to be a young warrior today. I just want to preface by saying I'm in my mid-20s, but I still feel like I'm learning a lot. I'm far enough from the teens where I feel old, but still young enough in my adulthood where I'm still learning so much every day, especially working here for Native Roots Radio.
Yeah, definitely. I know the feeling. I'm not young and I still learn.
Yeah. But I guess the first thing I'm just going to go through a bunch of topics that I think are super important, but and especially like things that stuck out to me this week on the show. I know we talked about voting. So on the Little Moments Count, we had Katie on talking about voting and registration. And I just registered this week online. I listen to the show whenever we have people on, and I really get inspired to get involved and to vote. I've only voted, I think, once before. And that's because I was, in college and I had access to it. But since I haven't been in school, it's been hard to feel connected. And so just having someone on the radio show telling us how to register, who's eligible, and everything like that. So when I went to the website, I think it was like votingmn.gov or something like that. It really helped me just kind of understand that my voice does matter. And especially having all the women on here who are former politicians, current people, helping making laws, or just our political consultants. They really opened my eyes that like I'm at the age now where I my frontal lobe is developed, right? And so I'm taking in everything with a new lens, but also being a woman and being a Native woman, that's the lens that I carry through my life. And I don't know, I'm just super inspired, and I hope all the young people out there, pursue education, pursue learning about their rights, and getting involved within our elections.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. That's great that it's working, and that's the whole thing. It's like if we can change one mind or remind people, one person, we've done our job. If you're feeling that way, I'm sure there's many people that listen to the show feeling the same way, that they, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So yeah, good ones on you.
Yeah, and I only, want to bring that up because I don't know, it's hard to feel like a part of something, but having, again, all of our great guests on just makes it feel accessible. And then I think this kind of leads into my next topic that I wanted to talk about, which was, I think, mental health during stressful times or even political times. I know, like, in Minneapolis, I used to work near downtown and, off of Franklin where everything was happening, and that was extremely stressful. And I don't know, like, I had friends who were involved in the community, using their bodies as like a statement, and like it was just extremely scary at that time. And so I just want to say, when things like this happen, or even when elections happen, just do your research, find let's see, just find sources. Yeah, it's called media literacy. And so
Yeah.
checking for reliable sources, avoiding misinformation, reading beyond the headlines. I think you can take in so much content, but also you have your own opinion that you can make at the end of the day. And also, like, being open to respectful conversations. And, not every time people online are gonna like see from your point of view, and that's the beauty in it, is if you don't resonate with what I'm saying, you don't have to comment, you don't have to like, but at the end of the day, like, we can still be respectful towards each other no matter what. And yeah, I don't know, I just wanted to say, always have your smudge ready, put your tobacco down and say prayers during any stressful times that are happening, and just ask for guidance. Yeah, I guess that's all I have to say for that part.
Yeah, definitely. Good words on that.
Yeah. And I think, let's see, another topic I kind of wanted to talk about for our Young Warrior segment is economic sovereignty. So right now I'm kind of going through I'm becoming an artist again, or I've always been an artist, but I'm, putting that at the forefront. And I haven't always like nurtured that side of me in the past few years, but not even just myself. I really love other Native artists and people who are out there. So even yesterday we had Ray Janice on, and he is so amazing. We went to go see his exhibit at the All My Relations Arts on Franklin at Powell Grounds, and it's just a awesome exhibit that they have going on right now.
Yeah, I agree. It was great seeing you, and also having the artist on and then seeing him in action and looking at his art in a different way after he explained a lot of the process of the collaboration thing that I knew nothing about.
Yeah, I think that was just super cool. Like, art is always evolving, culture is evolving. I think what really stuck out to me was when you guys were talking about because we're Native artists, we don't always have to create things like that are traditionally Native. We can make contemporary things, and we can exist in a modern time, and so we don't always have to be represented in that way.
Right, exactly. Hey, throw a teepee in on your painting. And it's like, no, it's the city.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. And even like art, like I love doing digital art as well as, beading and regalia. But right now I'm super into crocheting, and it's Native art because I'm Native and I'm making it. And I don't know, just want to encourage everyone out there, like, even if you're not doing a traditional art medium, just keep on with it. And then in that same note, support other Native artists. Like my shirt I'm wearing today says "Like a Girl." The back has like a Ojibwe floral design with a Native woman working out, and that's from Linnea Kingbird. I don't know, again, you can find local artists wherever you are, hire them as consultants to teach. Not only do they need to teach traditional Native things, but she does Procreate, she does digital art. Ray Janice does digital art. And so just finding those people and connecting with them and giving them opportunities to teach and educate.
Right. I really like that you brought that up. And one last thing, we got like 30 seconds. Misko, what else would you like to say to our audience?
Oh, I just want to say being a young warrior isn't about winning arguments online. It's about knowing where you come from, learning your history, protecting your community, and helping create a better future for those next 7 generations that we always talk about. So stay informed, stay respectful, and remember our ancestors when we're walking. That's all I have.
Wow, that was perfect. Thank you so much. And thank you for being you. Hey, this has been Native Roots Radio, and we just did our Young Woman Warrior segment with Misko. And we'll see everyone Monday. Have a great weekend. Ho!
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with